Junta. Let me bring you into this conversation, Mr. Santosh. And as you know, housing and urban development are often framed as engines of economic growth, as we just heard also. But yet, many groups remain systematically excluded from benefiting from that growth. From your perspective, do housing policies, housing laws, standards globally today include the economic or the social function of housing? And have you seen meaningful progress in integrating groups that are discriminated, I would say, over time? Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, I would like to bring a very different perspective to this discussion. When we talk of housing from the perspective of person with disability, which I am myself, it's not a building. We consider housing, home, a building which is accessible. You just create a building which is inaccessible. You don't provide for a rent, you don't provide for a tactile, you don't interconnect the vicinity where I have a home with the accessible transport systems. You create public facilities, digitalized facilities, unmindful of the access requirements of different persons, different categories of persons with disabilities. It is not housing for us. Now, to answer your question, I would say that from my perspective and from the perspective of persons with disabilities, housing policies across the world have functions of have viewed the function of housing as economic growth function rather than its social function. We forget that when economies are at stress, it is the welfare schemes which enable which enhances the purchasing capacity to arrest the economic downturn. And therefore, housing should be viewed as a social function primarily, which will enrich the economic growth as well. Housing is often treated as a market community, a real estate investment, an infrastructure project, rather than as a fundamental human right linked to dignity, independence, inclusion, and participation in society. As a result of these gaps, millions of persons with disabilities continue to face inaccessible and homelessness and exclusion from community life. But this is not the only negative side. We have made some positive progress. I would like to highlight some of them. We are also witnessing the positive progress in some countries due to the influence of UN Convention on Disability Rights, especially Article 19 on independent living and community inclusion, and Article 9 on accessibility. For example, several countries have introduced universal design principles in building regulations. In India, under the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act, we have included various provisions for accessibility, which are mandatory though in nature, but this is all relating to public buildings and public infrastructure, not private housing. In some European countries, social housing projects now incorporate step-free access, tactile features, accessible transport, connectivity, and community-based support systems. A very important lesson from these experiences is that accessibility cannot be an afterthought. If housing is designed inclusively from the beginning, it benefits not only persons with disabilities but also older persons, women, children, and other marginalized communities. Therefore, housing policies must move from a charity-based norm and perspective to the right-based approach.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.